Capture all zones.
What's going on, YouTube surfers? I hope you're doing great and thank you for tuning into my video. What's playing here is some Black Ops Cold War beta, and I'm playing Control on the map Moscow using the suppressed Type 63 with several perks. I do have the perk greed card on, which allows me to have 6 total perks. So as always, if you have any questions about my setup, feel free to ask. This was a relatively decent game. Control isn't one of my favorites. To be honest, I don't think it's very many people's favorite mode, if any. It's a bit strange and slower pace. So with that being said, I do apologize in advance. The gameplay won't be too exciting. That's all good though, because this video isn't all about the gameplay. I'm going to be talking about 4 things that bothered me with the Cold War beta. But before I get into that, I do want to say overall, my experience with the beta was good. Now naturally, nothing is going to be perfect, and that's pretty much why I'm making this video. But overall, I felt like the good definitely outweighed the bad. Now I could have made a video talking about every single thing that I liked and disliked, but that would be a bit much for a beta. So I'm going to save an in-depth video like that for the game's actual release. With that being said, yes, Lord willing, I will be picking the game up on release for sure. Alright, now, even though mine and many other people's efforts seem futile, the first thing that I want to address is SBM, or skill-based matchmaking. So if you haven't seen it, I do have a video that I made talking about my thoughts on SBM in detail, so I'm not going to feed a fed horse here. If you haven't seen it, I much appreciate it if you checked it out and left your thoughts on it. But if you aren't interested, just know I don't like it. I don't like SBM. I can't help but feel that the majority of my negative feelings toward this beta were directly related to SBM. And like I said, I'm not gonna rant here, but I just wish the devs would take a different approach to balancing this game. This screenshot is what was potentially the worst match I ever played in any Call of Duty. Looking at this, what's the first thing that stands out to you? Notice anything absolutely absurd? Take a look at the number of max or near max level players on that team versus ours. You can't really tell by the scoreboard how this match actually played out, but take mine and Xiao's honest word on it. It was awful. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually going to upload that video and talk about it in a separate video. My point here is, I wish the devs would stop wasting time on SBM and start with something like simple level balance between teams.
It's time to stop! No more!
If you really want to help new players, if you really want to help somebody who might not be too great at the game, how about make sure that they're not on a team versus another team full of max level players? Like, come on. Now, I already know what you're saying. Delta, level doesn't equal skill. Yes, that is true. But there isn't a soul out there that can say that there is no correlation between level and skill. And especially early on in the game's life, or, in this case, a beta. If it's day 2 of the beta and these people are max level, odds are they're going to be pretty good. But to that same concept, I raise this. Even to this day, 4 years later in Battlefield 1, after so many people have played this game enough to reach max level, I can still look at the level balance between teams and already know how the outcome of the match will be with like an 80% accuracy. If you think that level plays absolutely no part in skill or how a match will turn out, I implore you to watch the game I'm gonna upload and tell me if you still feel that same way. It doesn't matter how good a game is. It can be perfect mechanically and graphically, but if your players are having to be trampled or fight the spawn or basically be a pro player just to have a chance at winning every single match, people aren't gonna have fun. That's my bottom line, and that's perhaps my biggest issue that I have with Call of Duty today. So this one is an extremely sensitive subject, and there's a huge subdivision of the Call of Duty community that basically only cares about it, and I guarantee you they had a field day with this beta. That is sniping.
Jeez, okay, settle down, everyone. No bunching. Come on,
Leave it, woman!
get out of the way. Go, go.
Now, before I say anything else, I will acknowledge that sniping takes skill without a doubt. Not everybody can just pick up a sniper rifle and work magic. And generally speaking, I know snipers have always been a topic of debate in games, but I think they need some work in Cold War. The way I've described the Pellington to other people is that it's literally a fully upgraded SPR from Modern Warfare, and it's the first sniper that you have in the game. I like sniping, I really do, but people, come on, there is nothing realistic about this.
Why do they keep going up to, like, fucking B, man? Wait. Wait. Oh my god!
And when I say not realistic, I'm not even talking about real life realistic at this point. I'm talking about video game realistic. We all know COD has kind of lost most traces of realism. Modern Warfare somewhat redeemed that, but to me, this is stretching it even for video game standards. Simply put, I would just like to see snipers be a bit heavier and slower. A perfect example I would use is Modern Warfare snipers. Snipers in MW are heavy and slow, like they should be, to counteract the fact that they can practically one-shot you from anywhere on the map. And of course, the SPR completely invalidates all of that in Modern Warfare. I can't speak much on the Tundra sniper, which is the only other sniper rifle that was in the beta, because I never used it. Did get killed by it, but I never used it. It would be different if the Pellington behaved like it did with max level upgrades or something, but for it to just handle like the SPR straight from the default class is just too absurd for me. If snipers took a bit more attention and skill to use, I feel like modes like Combined Arms would be a lot more enjoyable. Anytime I would play Combined Arms with someone who never tried it, I would warn them in advance, prepare to be sniped over and over and over again. The maps on Combined Arms are so big that if you aren't using a sniper rifle or an extremely long range weapon, you're really put at a disadvantage. Not only that, it's just overall excruciating moving from objective to objective when there are 10 American snipers on the other team with SPRs watching every inch of the map. It makes it to the point where nobody feels like dying 15 times before they can make it to a point that's like a mile away. So, I don't know about you guys, but to me this game has some of the strangest hit registration ever. It's one thing to have network lag and high ping and stuff like that, but thankfully I never have any network issues in my current location, and I was still having a hard time learning where to shoot at people. It's a bit difficult describing what this is all about, but it's very easy to feel, as I'm sure you have if you played the beta. Again, I'm going to compare to Modern Warfare, but in Modern Warfare it's very noticeable and natural when you land shots on enemy players. It sounds receptive, it looks receptive, but in Cold War there's something about it that doesn't seem right. I think one way to help would be to add in old hit marker sounds, or kind of give you the option to change between the two like they did in Modern Warfare. When I was coming up with this list, I almost forgot one of the most important issues I had with Cold War, and that's spawning. This is one thing that has been universally criticized between everybody that I played with during the beta. In typical Call of Duty, there are two sides of a map for each team. So let's just use quarters for example. At the 50 mark is where most of the action goes down, right in the middle. But if one team is pushing the other team to their 25 mark, that's getting close to spawn trapping. In a usual setting, once the pushing team starts getting beyond that 25 mark, that's when the game decides to flip the spawns and basically try to reset the balance back to the 50 mark. In Cold War, I was seeing situations where there was no spawn trapping being done by my team, yet the enemy team was continuously spawning on both sides of the 50 mark. This was most noticeable on more linear maps like Satellite, but I definitely experienced the erratic spawning on every single map I played on. It got to the point where I felt paranoid anytime we didn't have a UAV up, and what stood out to me is that when there's a UAV up, you can literally see in real time how the enemy team is spawning. I can recount so many times that I'm looking at the map and I'm just like, how the heck is the enemy team spawning back there? We're not even pushing them, there's nothing like that going on, and yet they're spawning in between our teams and it's just a mess. I once made a statement as a kill confirm game loaded up that this mode should be perfect for this game's spawn system, and I actually didn't have too much of an issue with it in kill confirm. It was mostly modes like TDM or domination that I really felt those effects, and in my opinion there's nothing worse than when you're playing domination and there's enemies spawning on your A flag when you aren't even pushing their C flag. All in all, I really enjoyed the beta and I'm looking forward to the game coming out. The reason I only talked about 4 things in this video is because I could only think of those 4. I would like to see what you think about Cold War so far. Are you planning on picking it up just for zombies, or does the game just look good overall? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the commentary, leaving a thumbs up will let me know and help this video get out there to other awesome people like yourself. To see more of my content, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell icon, which will let you know when I upload again. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back sometime.
Sentry turret active protocols. Better we live to fight another day.